back to another video, and if you have not seen my Comic-Con announcement video, well, late Comic-Con announcement, I encourage you guys to check that out. It will probably be right over here. You guys can check it out and let me know what you think. But that is not what we're going to do. We're going to get right into this video because I want to talk about something that I think I've been slacking off of. If you guys haven't noticed, Apple didn't release any new iPads, any Macs, refresh, or hardly anything to do with the iPads, and I already said that, or AirPods, AirPower, and stuff like that. Well, October is usually the month where they dedicate to the Macs and iPads. So I have a strong feeling that in October, and everybody has a strong feeling that in October, Apple will be releasing it. Now, they're saying that Apple will announce an event like they did with the Touch Bar Mac. Whether or not that happens, it remains to be seen. I really think it will, because that's usually a place, especially with the Mac lineup. Since we already had a refresh of the MacBook Pro with the CPUs, we didn't really get a big announcement for that. It just happened. But I think, honestly, we'll be seeing quite a bit now at this event. And I think that the event will highlight some of the important moments from it. So let's talk about what I think Apple is going to release in October. So right off the bat, I believe we're going to get straight into it, a new redesign of the iPad Pro. There's no secret. There have been rumored images, there have been leaks in iOS 12 that show this new iPad, and it's going bezel-less. So I believe Apple is going to do that. Now, even if they get the iPhone 10 redesign with the bezel-less or Face ID, that'll work out in many ways, because I can see people adjusting to the iPad Pro if you have an iPhone. Now, will it feature USB Type-C? That is a big question, because everyone is saying that USB-C will be on it. I don't know, but I think the logical thing Apple should do is release, because there was a rumor back saying that Apple will release a fast charger with the iPads that will be USB-C to Lightning. Now, whether or not that will be USB-C to USB-C or USB-C to Lightning, we don't know. But regardless, I really do hope Apple releases a fast charger with the iPad Pro, because at least one of the devices should include a fast charger in the box. And even if the and I know Apple has their greedy way of making extra money, but in this case, the iPad Pro already is expensive as it is. Now, I'm not going to get into the specifications of what the screen will be made of, like OLED, LCD. I think it would be more logical for LCD, because honestly, you really wouldn't tell the difference with an OLED, but if you want OLED, go ahead, but that would be raising the price even more. But overall, I think the iPad Pro will come out, and it looks like they're also changing the smart connector on the back. We'll see how that plays out. Next up, Macs. Now, the rumor with the MacBook Air is that everyone was saying this was going to happen way back in March at the educational event, and not a lot of people really talked about it as much. Most people talked about the iPad stuff. I did talk about it a little bit. I never said it was going to happen officially, but I said there was a possibility. Well, it didn't happen. I was wrong. But this time around, now that we're nearing an event that's dedicated to this stuff, I think that they really need to readjust that lineup. I said in the past before that if Apple redoes the Mac lineup, it should be the MacBook Pro with the Touch Bar. Then you have MacBook, which is basically the MacBook Pro without the Touch Bar. And then the MacBook Air should be the standard MacBook, that light MacBook with the USB-C. It would simplify the lineup, but apparently rumors are saying that Apple wants to keep the MacBook Air in the lineup, but give it some refresh. The best way to refresh it, give it a Retina display, keep the ports. I think it should be said to keep the ports, update the CPU, and apparently they're saying something about a Touch ID. If that makes a difference, then fine. But really, the only way I can see Apple's next generation of the MacBook Air would be simple. Retina display, you keep the ports, add a USB-C, honestly, I love MagSafe. Don't get me wrong, it's great. But they're switching to USB-C, so if it has to be USB-C, they should switch to USB-C, but at least try to keep some of the ports that people use and try to keep it within $1,000, or at least try to get it lower. But knowing Apple, they said they were going to do so much, but they've shown that they don't give a fuck, and the prices are expensive, and they've come out and tried to justify it. So don't expect to pay more than $1,100 or $1,099 for a MacBook Air. I'm just saying that, unless somehow they can lower the price. Next up, the Mac Mini. Now, this one is in a desperate need of a refresh. It has been rumored for a while now that the Mac Mini will finally come, but I honestly don't know. I think it'll happen, but what will they do with it? Well, simple. Upgrade the CPU. That's a known fact. And I think that they should also, for me anyway, I think that they should go a little pro with it. Like, they should put higher end RAM, especially with storage, and I think powerful internals for the Mac Mini. But you also have the iMac Pro, which they're going to refresh in 2019 anyway. But I don't know if that'll happen at this event. I'm not focusing on that, but the Mac Mini definitely needs a big refresh, because I was actually considering buying that because it's simple. All I need is just a monitor. But of course, the iMacs are much better, and they make the justification with the price because you get it all in one. And speaking of the iMacs, I don't really see too much big of change. We know that Apple did update the MacBook Pro with the Coffee Lake processors, but whether or not they update everything here, I can see the iMacs getting a text bump. I can see it getting the upgraded CPU, and if they do that, then I will definitely buy an iMac. The iMac Pro, I don't know too much about that. They're not showing too much, but I can see the iMac and the MacBooks, not the Pro, but MacBook and MacBook Air also getting those refreshed CPUs to help with the justification of the price. Now, the iMac, in my opinion, is a great desktop by itself. Everyone is saying that the iMac should get a new display. I'm looking at it right now, and it's not really that terrible. I mean, yeah, the bezels are a little chunky, but honestly, it doesn't take away too much from the display. But if Apple can definitely reduce those bezels like they're doing with everything, then it'll just make it even better, but watch the price go up on that. But regardless, I would probably get an iMac if they upgrade the CPU, and if it's at a starting price that's affordable, I'll just get that, upgrade the RAM, that's it. And finally, software. Now, not too much on software, but I think they'll focus on the group time FaceTime, or the group FaceTime for the iPad, along with Animoji and Memoji for the iPad Pro, because now that it has Face ID, it'll show off more. And now the chip for the iPad Pro. Now, we originally thought that the iPad Pro is going to have an A11X. Well, we're on A12 now, so they're probably going to go with an A12X Bionic. So we'll see how that pulls it off. But that's kind of my lineup for what I think they're going to do in October. I think the Mac Mini, iMac, iPad Pro, and possibly the MacBook Air, all four will get a refresh. I'm not expecting any major redesigns with the exception of the iPad Pro, but the MacBook Air should definitely get a nice refresh. The Mac Mini needs new CPU. And most of all, they need to be updated so people could keep up. So when you go out to buy these devices, you're not buying older device CPUs. So that's really all I gotta say. That's really what I hope, because if they really do that for the iMacs, I will definitely go out and get one. So that's gonna do it for this video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Let me know, what do you think Apple's gonna do in October? If you like what you see, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, and also check out my other videos right in front of you. Thanks for watching, and peace.
Tell me pretty lies, look me in the face, tell me that you love me.